tabletop exercise for missile defense, but still, we're talking about emergency preparedness. Before we begin with our program, I do want to recognize the presence of the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Magahagan Guahan, Governor Guam. As well as the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, Segundo Magalahan Guahan, Lieutenant Governor Guam. From the 38th Guam Legislature, we have Senator Sabrina Salas Matanani. From our Mayor's Council of Guam, one of our first responders, too, all the way from the south, the Honorable Anthony Chargalov, Mayor of Inalahan. We also have the Honorable Franklin Champaco from Maleso. Yes, half the day. Ms. Esther Agagi, Advisor for Guam Homeland Security. Let's give a round of applause. And all the staff from Guam Homeland Security Office of Civil Defense. Also want to recognize Stephen Ignacio, Police Chief, Guam Police Department. As well as Colonel Joseph Carbolito. And all those joining us from the Guam Police Department. You can't miss them. They're wearing their blue uniforms. I also want to recognize all the members of the Leon Guerrero Tenorio Administration Cabinet joining us here today. Let's give them a round of applause. We also have Marine Corps Base Camp Bloss, our partners joining us. Let's give them a round of applause. We can't have a Typhoon Preparedness proc without talking about the weather. We have meteorologist in charge from the National Weather Service, Genevieve Miller, joining us this morning. Half the day is Jen. And he's our familiar face, Marcus Landon, as we know him, Idlet, Warning Coordination Meteorologist, National Weather Service. And also his brother, Brandon. Brandon, come on, stand up as well. If you didn't know, they are twins, if you missed that memo. I also want to recognize Major Eric Tumali, Salvation Army, as well as Major Jessel Tumali from the Salvation Army. So Smasi for joining us. Again, one of our partners in Typhoon Preparedness. Also want to recognize all those from American Red Cross. I did see you earlier. American Red Cross, where are you at? Yes, back there. Cesar Smasi. And also our partners in earlier this week's tabletop exercise. The Guam National Guard joining us. Half a day. Cesar Smasi for joining us. As well as the United States Coast Guard. Cesar Smasi. Also some familiar faces, although they're not in the spotlight anymore. Chip Guard, retired National Weather Service. This was Landon's predecessor. So he was the guy telling us, do we have to worry about the weather? Is it just really rainy? Or is there a disturbance in the area? So he was our guy. I also want to recognize EPA joining us. EPA, where are we at? Clean up. Clean up after a storm, very important. Guam Solid Waste Authority. Roman, I did see you, Guam Solid Waste Authority. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, back there. Clean up is very important. Our hospital, GRMC, is joining us this morning. Half a day to GRMC. Let's give them a round of applause. Our partners in healthcare, as well as DISID. DISID, where are we at? Let's give them a round of applause. Yes. Thank you so much for keeping that applause going in the corner. And last but not least, you're probably wondering why there are all these young people joining us this morning. Yes, they have a passion for typhoon preparedness, but also they're here as part of the Governor's Summer Youth Employment Program. Can I have our interns stand up? They're learning all about government operations. Interns, I see interns in the corner. They're all throughout the government of Guam, learning firsthand what it takes to work for the government. So thank you so much for all that energy. I hope to keep the energy going now that I'm going to give the floor to Miss Genevieve Miller, meteorologist in charge for the National Weather Service, for her opening remarks. Miss Jen, tell us why we're here today.
Half a day, everyone. My name is Genevieve Miller. Hi, how are you doing, Governor? You probably don't even recognize me as much as you would know Landon and Chip, because they are usually the people who I send out to give the wonderful messages we have about typhoons and any of our weather and disasters that we're going to be expecting. But it is my honor to welcome you all to the Proclamation signing of Typhoon Preparedness Month. And this month not only reminds us just of the destructive power of typhoons, which, terrible, we've been through them all, but it's also a call to action on what we can do, how to prepare, and how do we strengthen our resilience to these typhoons. Because typhoon preparedness begins at home, and it begins with you and all of you. We have to take personal responsibility for our own preparedness to ensure that we are ready for the next typhoon, and that our family is ready and our home is prepared. And tropical cyclones, which is just a generic term we use for tropical storms, typhoons, and tropical depressions, can and do occur any time of the year here in the Marianas. But more specifically, we see them from July through November. So when's the best time to prepare? Now. And while we can't prevent these tropical cyclones, we can prepare for them as best we can. And that means we do a lot of our partnership with the Guam Homeland Security Administration, a wonderful group of people who have really been by our side, great partners, and that's where we work well together. And I'm so pleased to just have such a good working relationship with this agency. And our friends at FEMA, they also have share the basic tips on helping us guide through typhoon preparedness. If you go to FEMA.gov, that's where you'll find a lot of typhoon preparedness tips, and among them, let me just kind of go through how they have tips on developing an evacuation plan, assemble disaster supplies, get an insurance checkup, create a communication plan, and strengthen your home. I know I talk real fast, but that's my nature. So here at the Weather Service, we'd like to let you keep typhoon preparedness in your daily conversations. Don't forget it, this is just 1 month, or as Esther was putting it, we only have 7 days left in the month, but keep this in your conversations and strive to always do better, because we can always improve on what we did last year, learn from our mistakes, and definitely we're going to have another season to work on them. So on behalf of the National Weather Service, and I'd like to thank you, and let's let the proclamation signing begin.
Caesar's Malasi, Ms. Jen. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, our Governor of Guam, for her remarks.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Thank you, Genevieve, for those tips. Unfortunately, where we are located, we're right in the typhoon belt. And all of us, I'm sure, in one time or another have experienced typhoons. I remember my big typhoon was in 1962, which was Typhoon Karen. And it was pretty scary. When we walked out from where we were sheltering, the whole village of Sinahanya was just destroyed. But as a people, what did we do? We got together, we helped our neighbors, we helped each other, and we survived. And we survived greatly as a result of that typhoon, and we got a lot of federal government help and very low interest mortgages and home loans. We were able to build our homes the way we are today. Very structured, very strong. And so as a people, we are prepared. We are always prepared because we know what we have to encounter, especially with typhoons. And I just am very grateful that we as a community always come together. I was just telling the Lieutenant Governor when Crystal was introducing all these people, I told him, I feel like I'm in a typhoon Mawar disaster meeting, because really it's about these same people that have come to our meetings. First, when we were recovering, every day. Then we did once a week. And we continued that for months. But that was recovery time. And that was post-recovery. But I think we should always also focus on preparedness. And I know with the help of many agencies, Homeland Security, the weather people, the law enforcement people, the mayors, our government, the senators, all our private sectors, people come together and we know the drill. And I really like the way we prepare because we do it in phases. We go from condition of readiness 4, to condition of readiness 3, to condition of readiness 2, to condition of readiness 1. And every readiness core tells you what to do. Sometimes we go from condition readiness 4 to condition readiness 2, right? It depends on the guidance and your great analysis of the weather. By the way, I told FEMA administrator when we had a virtual meeting, because we did, there's a lot of uncertainties with FEMA, that do not get rid of NOAA. Do not get rid of our weather people, because you are the ones that guide us along. And without you, we are at a loss. And that's the greatest, I think, importance of your services to the people of Guam. Not just Guam, but CNMI, not just CNMI, but the whole region here. So I thank you, and I will always fight for your continued services here. And so that's our preparedness. And that is, like I always said, we have to prepare every day. Every day. Not just the month, but every day. Because that's how we can survive. That's how we can prevent injuries and deaths. And if you look back in all of the typhoons, we have never really lost life directly because of the typhoon. We haven't heard about homes. We've heard about homes being destroyed, but we don't hear about lives lost. And I think that's because of our great way of preparing. And like I said, I recently had a Zoom meeting with the new administrator of FEMA, and FEMA Bob Fenton. And the whole purpose was to understand the island's preparedness. And I hear from Bob Fenton after the meeting that the administrator was very impressed with our very organized way of preparedness. And that's because of all of you as a community that have come together to help us save our lives. So I'm very honored today, of course, to sign the proclamation announcing Typhoon Preparedness Month. But let's keep in mind that we need to always be prepared every day. Sizus Masi.
Thank you so much, Governor. I just want to say good gifts for your friends. Radios, portable radios, Ryobi fans. Just plug. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua F. Tenorio, Segundo Magalohan, Guahan, Lieutenant Governor, Guam.
I was also telling the governor that this place during the typhoon also was a scene of a massive flood. And so, you know, you have to be prepared for the unexpected when we're dealing with a typhoon. And one of the things that I think both the governor and I know that probably every single emergency responder and military member did not expect was the failure of communications throughout the island. And of course, it's been such a long time. We really had a really long streak. I think it was 21 years that we didn't have a heavy storm event like at that magnitude. And so for the younger people, they didn't know how to deal with it, right? Times changed. Remember back in 2002, we didn't have Twitter or social media like this. And so one of the new things that we have to consider when we're doing preparedness is making sure that information is verified. I'm sure all of you got in your chat groups pictures or videos of dramatic destruction that turned out wasn't here on the island, right? Or even worse, instructions about what to do or where to go from sources that seem to be official but were not verified. And in this regard, this is kind of like the path that we need to consider. Governor has been directing all of us to make sure that we address the gaps in communication so that people will get verified information, but also making sure we understand what the media capabilities are. I know Senator Matanani knew about this before, right? We used to rely on different technology, and as we went digital and faster, it created all these other issues that we didn't know about. From 12 cell sites to be supported by emergency power to hundreds and hundreds of assets in the private sector communications area that need to be supported. So those are the real things, and each time that we come together for exercise, we also challenge ourselves to challenge the assumptions that we're making so that we can truly be prepared. We experienced Typhoon Mawar, and with all those communication failures, we had a big emergency drill on what it will be like in Guam if we get a cyber hit and critical infrastructure is lost. And all of us can understand and take those lessons so that we can prepare for whatever the kind of hazard that it is that we're going to be preparing for. But in this case, as the governor said, we are in that typhoon belt. And I'm just so grateful for everybody that's here that sacrifices their time. From the moment that storm is approaching, a lot of you are in the emergency operations center or at the police precincts or at critical infrastructure around the island. You have only a small amount of time to make sure your family is safe and prepared, and then you take and assume your responsibilities as a public servant for the rest of the island. And I just want to say thank you for all of that tremendous sacrifice. And let's continue to work together. And no matter what happens, we have the willpower and the talent to survive and to get back to normal. Sidus Masi.
Cesar Masi, Lieutenant Governor. And I want to call to the podium for the reading and the signing of the proclamation, Marcus Landon Eidlet, Warning Coordination Meteorologist, National Weather Service, Guam.
I was just talking to Esther earlier that it seems like a party atmosphere in here with everyone talking, the music, smiles, cheerful nature, but just 2 years ago it was a lot of frowns, a lot of wide eyes, and as the days went by approaching Mawar, the eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is a really good time to get everybody together, and we're family. This is the family that we work with when it comes to tropical cyclone threats, and so we have to know and be familiar with each other before that threat happens. So it is my pleasure to read through this proclamation. It's proclamation number 2025-62, a proclamation of the governor proclaiming June 2025 as Typhoon Preparedness Month. Whereas emergencies and natural disasters test our island community's strength, and each of us can do our part to keep our families, our homes, and our businesses safe by having an emergency plan. Whereas every Guamanian must take steps to reduce their vulnerability to the potentially devastating impacts of typhoons. Whereas by knowing and understanding the triple threat of tropical cyclones, that is flooding rains, destructive winds, and inundating storm surge, residents can reduce risks and mitigate impacts. Whereas by discussing with our families how we can prepare ourselves in an emergency, such as a typhoon, we can contribute to and share in a stronger island community. And whereas, though a typhoon can happen any day of the year in our region, June is significant because it is the start of peak typhoon season, which runs through December. And whereas Typhoon Preparedness Month is an opportunity to talk with our families, our friends, our colleagues about the risk of typhoons to our communities and what we can do to ensure lives and properties are as protected as possible.
Now therefore I, Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Magahagan Guahan, Governor of Guam, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Organic Act of Guam as amended, do hereby proclaim June 2025 as Typhoon Preparedness Month. Our island community has weathered many typhoons. While our island people are resilient, we must always stay typhoon ready and take all typhoon warnings and watches seriously.
In witness whereof, I, Joshua F. Tenorio, Segundo Magalahin Guahan, Lieutenant Governor of Guam, hereby together with the Maga Haga cause the Great Seal of Guam to be affixed in the in the village of Agana Heights on this 20th day of June in the year of our Lord, Anno Domini 2025. Viva Typhoon Preparedness Month.
Thank you so much, Landon, and of course to Bren for always keeping us informed. And now they have regular spots on with all our media partners to update us on the weather. What's the weather going to be like this weekend? It's going to be great. Thank you so much, Landon. I now want to give the podium to Ms. Esther Agagi, Advisor for Guam Homeland Security, for her closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Crystal. Governor Leon Guerrero, Lieutenant Governor Tenorio, our distinguished leaders and partners, as we conclude today's ceremony officially launching the 2025 Typhoon Preparedness Month through this proclamation signing, on behalf of the National Weather Service, we want to thank all of you for your participation and your commitment to our island's safety. Today's proclamation signing marks the beginning of a critical time of preparation and awareness. And as discussed earlier, we were reminded about the devastation of Typhoon Mawar. Other typhoons that were pretty bad in Guam were Typhoons Karen in '62, as the governor had mentioned. Some of us were alive or born when Pamela hit us in 1976. And then in 1992, there was this thing called Omar. And then Paka came not too far in '97. And then the last one before Mawar was Typhoon Pongsonghua in 2022. But ladies and gentlemen, yet after each of these storms, our island community has demonstrated extraordinary resilience through the professionalism of our government, the compassion of volunteers, and the strength of residents rebuilding their lives. And it always amazes me that in the worst of times, these brings out the best in all of us. So this proclamation represents our collective commitment to comprehensive disaster preparedness. Typhoon Preparedness Month helps to elevate critical awareness about severe weather damages and emphasizes the vital importance of emergency planning. While storms threaten our infrastructure, our paramount concern is protecting human life, making disaster readiness essential for every household and organization. As you leave here today, I encourage all residents, particularly those in high-risk areas, to develop family evacuation plans and maintain adequate levels and supplies of food, water, medications, batteries, and other critical items. And for most of us in the room, just from experience, cash in hand is also a good idea. Our success depends on whole community collaboration, embodying the holistic concept of LISTU, which is readiness and preparedness. And this includes first responders, government leaders, private sector partners, community organizations, and every island family practicing the cultural and physiological concept of medgut, strength and courage in the face of challenges. Each of you represents a crucial component of our emergency management framework, whether you're serving in government agencies, military installations, organizations like the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, or you're providing essential community services. And as typhoon season approaches, let every household and organization assess risk factors, develop emergency plans, and ensure adequate disaster preparation. And for my fellow emergency management professionals, let's continue to focus our attention on our own readiness. In the nature of our work, we are often called to rise above and act, even when it's not easy. Our ability to respond as a team depends on each of us being fully engaged when the moment calls. And I submit to you that how we show up, especially in moments that test us, shapes how we move forward together as a community. And let me close with this call to action in our native language. Nat fanlistu hamzu, be prepared. Nat metkut hamzu lokwi, be strong too. These words embody our responsibility and our resilience as a community. So let today's proclamation signing be the kickoff to our efforts where every household, every agency, every organization takes that next step in preparedness. Because ladies and gentlemen, when we're ready, the whole community is safer. We thank the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration, the National Weather Service, our legislature, military, and federal partners, nonprofit organizations, the local media, and most important, our island residents for making today possible and for your ongoing commitment to our island's preparedness. I want to express the heartfelt thanks to Jenny Miller, Brandon Islet, and our all-weather friends at the National Weather Service for their partnership in building and sustaining a ready Guam. Together we stand prepared, we stand resilient, and we stand not only ready, but Guam ready to face whatever challenges may come our way. Everyone stay safe. Thank you.
Sisus Masi HSA. With that, I do want to ask everyone if we can step outside so we can take a group photo on the steps. It is a beautiful day. Again, please, can we proceed to the steps for a group photo?